Was there any high risk situation that you went through, like flying, that
Many.
you can think? Like what was the craziest thing that happened in your career?
There's definitely quite a bit that kind of fit the same category. I'd say one kind of basic one that was not in combat was we were in the Azores. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Azores. So it's the island chain out in the Atlantic. It's owned by Portugal, so it's a Portuguese culture there. It's about 5 or 6 islands. But Lodges is a town in one of the islands that the Air Force has had a base there that kind of coexists with the Portugal Air Force. And they've had it forever. It's an extremely long runway. It's very strategic for us to move aircraft, parts, and people straight through the Atlantic instead of going up the north route. So we spent a lot of time in Lodges. We had going out for a deployment. We had 2 C-130s we were going to take off, and we were going to meet, I think it was 4 or 6 Ospreys that were coming off the boat that we were going to meet up with them and refuel them and bring them all the way. I think it was to Rota, Spain. Well, we took off completely full of fuel, completely what we call bagged out. So the max takeoff weight for a C-130 is 175,000 pounds. And you don't have very good performance at 175,000 pounds. So you need kind of those long runways to get going so you can get up to takeoff speeds. As soon as we got up, kind of climbing up to altitude, we were flying formation. We were number 2. We had our flight lead, but we started to put fuel, what we call our cross-ship manifold. So we have all these different tanks, and we can pull fuel from any tank we want pretty much at any time, as long as everything's working. As soon as we started to draw from one of our big external tanks, we just had fuel just leaking like crazy, just spraying everywhere. We couldn't see where the leak was from. So fuel leaks are pretty bad for us, because especially if they get anywhere in the near the engine, they get in the intake, well, it can combust in a place that shouldn't combust. Mm-hmm. So we had to secure the manifold, which means we were limited to our engine tanks, which took away about 40,000 pounds of fuel that we were going to give to the receivers. So we were no longer able to continue on or give any fuel to the receivers, so we had to break off. Well, just at that time, storm cells. So Lodges is not, Lodges, the city, and then that island it's on is probably as big, not even as big as Warren County. It's pretty small. Mm-hmm. But a storm built right on top of it. So we had to go in and land, but you can't. So our props have reverse. So we can use reverse on our landing, and we can change the pitch of the prop, and it changes the thrust, and it helps us slow down. And then we have some pretty massive brakes as well. So when you have a fuel leak, you cannot use reverse at all. So we weighed just under max weight coming in for a landing, which doesn't happen very often at all. And we couldn't dump either, because anytime we would try to dump it, it would also leak out that same spot. And a massive storm built up around the runway, and there's little mountains, which causes the winds to go all over the place. So we didn't have much choice, and the procedure says land now, land immediately. So we had to land immediately. I was on the left seat, so I was landing. We came down, and we got the mains on. I didn't get the nose on, and a gust of wind came up, put us up again, and then came off. So when you lose that lift, you come smashing down again. And then we almost put a wing down. Luckily, I had enough lift on the wing of the procedure that I used to bring the wing back up. And we decided to continue on with the landing. And luckily, it was a 16,000-foot runway because we couldn't use reverse. All we could do is brakes. And we got to a point, we decided if we hit 4,000 feet left to go, we're going to burn the brakes. You'll catch it on fire. If you slam on the brakes, they'll lock up. You'll stop. You won't go off the end, which is a cliff, into the ocean. But I'd rather be on the runway on fire than in the ocean. So luckily we were able to stop, and everything was fine. We found out what the leak was. We were there for a few days, got it fixed. But I'd say outside of combat, that was probably one of my most nerve-wracking landings for sure. I actually landed twice, so
yeah,
we had to count it as 2 landings.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Talk About It podcast.
I'm Victor Dantas.
I'm Lauren Fulmer.
And we would encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell. It's going to be right below the video. So
hit the bell.
So you know when the next episode is up.
We appreciate all the support.
Thank you.